We're leaving the European Union, but we're still working with European partners in the economic interests of this country. When 44% of our exports are to the EU countries and 50% of our imports come from the EU, then it's in both our interests for that trade to remain tariff-free. It would damage businesses that export to Europe and the jobs that depend on those exports for there to be the additional costs of tariffs. And it would damage consumers here, already failed by stagnant wages and rapidly rising housing costs. So, we will remain close to the EU, that's obvious. Every country, whether it's Turkey, Switzerland or Norway, that is geographically close to the EU without being an EU member state has some sort of close relationship with the EU. They're some more advantageous than others, and Britain will need a bespoke, negotiated relationship of its own. During the transition period, which was proposed by Labour in the first place, Labour would seek to remain in a customs union with the EU and within the single market. That means we would abide by the existing rules of both during transition. That is, so the government, businesses and workers only have to make one adjustment from the current situation to the final terms. Labour spelled out the need for a stable transition period last summer. Both the TUC and the CBI agree on that. We thought the government had accepted that case, but they now seem to be, very surprisingly, in disarray on this issue yet again. Time after time with this government, anything agreed at breakfast is being briefed against by lunch and abandoned by tea time. Disarray is, it seems, the new strong and stable. Labour would seek a final deal that gives full access to European markets and maintains the benefits of the single market and the customs union, as the Brexit Secretary David Davis promised in the House of Commons, with no new impediments to trade and no reduction in rights, standards and protections. We've long argued that a customs union is a viable option for the final deal. So Labour would seek to negotiate a new, comprehensive UK-EU customs union to ensure there are no tariffs with Europe and to help avoid any need whatsoever for a hard border in Northern Ireland. But we're also clear that the option of a new UK customs union with the EU would need to ensure that the UK has a say in future trade deals. A new customs arrangement would depend on Britain being able to negotiate agreement for new trade deals in our national interest. Labour would not countenance a deal that left Britain as a passive recipient of rules decided elsewhere by others that would mean ending up as a mere rule taker. In contrast, the Conservative government has moved from saying it wanted trade with the EU after Brexit to be tariff-free to saying it wants it to be as tariff-free as possible, quite significant change. In which sectors of the economy and industry does the government think would be acceptable for there to be tariffs? They should let us know. Like with so much else, they haven't spelled that out 20 months after the referendum. We would ensure there will be no reduction in rights, standards or protections and instead seek to extend them. A deregulatory race to the bottom would damage people's jobs and living standards. And Labour would negotiate a new and strong relationship with the single market that includes full tariff-free access and a floor under existing rights, standards and protections. That new relationship would need to ensure we can deliver our ambitious economic programme, to take essential steps to intervene, upgrade and transform our economy, to build an economy for the 21st century that works for the many, not just the few.